Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to English Go Easy, the podcast that's all about making English learning simple, fun, and actually effective.
Hey everyone, I'm Xena, and with me, as always, is Spark. And today we're talking about something huge, how to literally train your brain to speak English fluently.
That's right. We're not just going to give you tips and tricks. We're going to dive deep into the science of language learning, how your brain actually works, and the exact methods you can use to rewire your brain for fluency.
And trust me, this isn't boring science class stuff. We're breaking it down in a way that's super practical and easy to understand. By the end of this episode, you'll have a complete roadmap for training your brain.
So, whether you've been learning English for years and still struggle to speak, or you're just starting out and want to do it right from the beginning, this episode is for you.
And like always, we want you to listen actively, take notes, and actually apply what we're teaching. This is going to be a longer episode, about 15 minutes, because we're going deep.
So get comfortable, maybe grab a notebook, and let's transform the way you think about learning English. Xena, you ready to blow some minds?
Let's do this. Time to train those brains.
All right, so let's start with the basics. Xena, how does the brain actually learn a new language?
Great question. So here's the thing. Your brain is basically a giant network of connections called neural pathways. When you learn something new, you're literally creating new pathways in your brain.
Right. And the more you use those pathways, the stronger they become. It's like walking through a forest. The first time, there's no path. But if you walk the same route over and over, eventually you create a clear trail.
Exactly. That's why repetition is so important in language learning. You're not just memorizing words, you're building brain highways.
Now, here's something really important. There are two different parts of your brain involved in language learning. There's the part that analyzes and thinks about grammar rules, and there's the part that just speaks automatically without thinking.
Right. The first part is your conscious learning, like when you study grammar in a textbook. The second part is your subconscious acquisition, when language just flows naturally.
And here's the key. Most people spend way too much time on conscious learning and not enough on subconscious acquisition.
Exactly. That's why you can know all the grammar rules, but still struggle to speak in a real conversation. Your brain hasn't acquired the language at a deep automatic level.
So the goal is to train your brain to move language from the conscious part to the automatic part. That's what fluency really is.
Yes. When you speak your native language, you don't think about grammar rules, right? You just speak. That's what we want for English.
So how do we do that? How do we train our brains to make English automatic?
Okay, so the first thing you need to understand is input. Input is everything you listen to and read in English. It's the language going into your brain. And here's the scientific truth. You cannot speak what you haven't heard.
Exactly. Your brain needs massive amounts of input before it can produce output. Think about babies. They listen for like 2 years before they even start talking.
Right. Now, we're not saying you need to wait 2 years to speak, but you do need to flood your brain with English every single day.
So what does that look like practically? How do you flood your brain with input?
Listen to English podcasts like this one. Watch English TV shows and movies. Listen to English music, watch YouTube videos in English, listen to audiobooks. The key is to make English a constant presence in your life.
And here's the important part. It needs to be comprehensible input. That means you should understand at least 70 to 80% of what you're hearing or reading.
Right. If it's too difficult and you understand nothing, your brain can't learn from it. If it's too easy and you understand everything, you're not challenging your brain enough.
So, find content that's slightly above your current level. You should feel like you're stretching, but not completely lost.
And variety matters too. Don't just listen to one type of English. Listen to different accents, American, British, Australian. Listen to different topics, sports, cooking, science, entertainment.
The more variety your brain gets, the more flexible and adaptable it becomes. You're training your brain to understand English in all its forms.
Now, here's a really important technique. Passive listening and active listening. Passive listening is when English is playing in the background while you're doing other things.
Like cooking dinner while a podcast plays, or commuting while listening to an audiobook. Your brain is still absorbing patterns and sounds even when you're not fully focused.
Exactly. But you also need active listening, where you're fully focused, maybe taking notes, pausing to understand difficult parts, really engaging with the content.
Both types are important. Passive listening creates familiarity. Active listening creates understanding.
Okay, so that's input, flooding your brain with English. But input alone isn't enough. You also need output.
Output is actually speaking and writing in English. This is where most people get stuck because they're scared to make mistakes.
But here's the thing. Mistakes are literally how your brain learns. Every time you make a mistake and correct it, you're strengthening those neural pathways we talked about.
Think of mistakes as data for your brain. Your brain is like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, let me try this instead. It's a learning process.
So you have to speak, even if you're not perfect, even if you make mistakes, even if you feel embarrassed. That's the only way to train your brain.
Now, a lot of people say, but I don't have anyone to practice with. And I get it, not everyone has English-speaking friends. So what do? Talk to yourself. Seriously, narrate your day in English. I'm making coffee. Now I'm pouring water. The water is hot. I need to be careful.
It sounds crazy, but it works. You're training your brain to think in English, to form sentences automatically without the pressure of another person judging you.
You can also record yourself speaking. Talk about your day, tell a story, describe something you saw, then listen back and notice where you struggled. Another great technique is shadowing. That's where you listen to native speakers and repeat exactly what they say, copying their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation.
Shadowing is amazing for training your brain. You're literally mimicking native speakers, and your brain starts to internalize those patterns.
And speaking of patterns, let's talk about chunks and phrases. This is super important for fluency.
Right. Instead of learning individual words, learn chunks of language, phrases that go together naturally, like I'm looking forward to, or it depends on, or that reminds me of.
Native speakers don't build sentences word by word. We use pre-made chunks that our brains have memorized. That's what makes us sound fluent.
Exactly. So when you're learning, collect phrases, not just words. Write them down, practice them, use them in sentences.
Your brain starts to recognize these patterns and can pull them out automatically when you need them. That's how you stop translating in your head.
Yes, translation is the enemy of fluency. When you're fluent, you think directly in English without translating from your native language.
So how do you stop translating? How do you train your brain to think in English?
Immersion is key. The more you surround yourself in English, the more your brain starts to operate in English mode.
Change your phone settings to English. Follow English social media accounts. Read English news. Watch English content. Basically, create an English environment even if you're not in an English-speaking country.
And here's a powerful technique. Visualize in English. When you think about your plans for tomorrow, think about them in English, not your native language.
When you see an object, don't think of it in your language and then translate. Just think chair or cup or tree directly in English.
It takes practice, but eventually your brain makes that switch. You start dreaming in English, thinking in English. That's when you know you're getting fluent.
Now, let's talk about consistency, because this is where most people fail. They start strong for a week and then give up.
Right. Your brain needs consistent, regular exposure to create strong neural pathways. Studying for 5 hours one day and then nothing for a week doesn't work.
It's way better to do 20 to 30 minutes every single day than to do 3 hours once a week. Consistency beats intensity every time.
Think of it like going to the gym. You can't work out once and expect muscles. You need to go regularly, over time. Same with your brain.
So, create a daily English routine. Maybe 15 minutes of listening in the morning, 10 minutes of shadowing during lunch, 15 minutes of speaking practice in the evening.
Small, consistent actions compound over time. In 6 months, you'll be shocked at how much progress you've made.
And here's something important. Make it enjoyable. Your brain learns better when you're having fun and feeling positive emotions.
Exactly. If you're forcing yourself to study boring textbooks and you hate it, your brain is not in the optimal learning state.
But if you're watching a show you love, listening to music you enjoy, talking about topics you're passionate about, your brain is engaged and learning happens naturally.
So choose content you actually like. If you love cooking, watch cooking shows in English. If you love sports, listen to sports podcasts. Make it fun.
Now, let's talk about something that holds a lot of people back: perfectionism and fear of mistakes.
Oh man, this is huge. So many learners are so afraid of making mistakes that they just don't speak at all.
But here's the truth: native speakers make mistakes all the time. We use the wrong word, we forget what we were saying, we stumble over pronunciations. It's totally normal.
Right. Language is messy and imperfect. Communication is the goal, not perfection.
So give yourself permission to be imperfect. Speak even when you're not sure. Try words even if your pronunciation isn't perfect. That's how you improve.
And celebrate small wins. Did you have a conversation in English today? Awesome. Did you understand a movie scene without subtitles? Amazing. Acknowledge your progress.
Your brain responds to positive reinforcement. When you celebrate your wins, you're telling your brain, this is good. Keep doing this.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about the power of sleep in language learning. A lot of people don't realize how important this is.
When you sleep, your brain consolidates everything you learned during the day. It's like your brain is organizing files and making permanent memories.
Right. So if you study English and then get a good night's sleep, your brain is processing and strengthening those new pathways while you sleep.
That's why cramming doesn't work. You need time for your brain to process and solidify the information.
So make sure you're getting enough sleep, 7 to 8 hours. Your brain needs that time to turn short-term learning into long-term memory.
And here's another brain hack: review right before bed. If you study or practice English right before sleeping, your brain will process it during the night.
That's a powerful technique. Your subconscious mind works on it while you sleep. You might even dream in English.
Okay, so let's talk about specific exercises you can do to train your brain for fluency. First one, the thinking exercise.
This is where you think about everyday situations in English. Like, imagine you're at a restaurant. What would you say to order food? Practice the conversation in your head.
Or imagine you're at a job interview. What questions might they ask? How would you answer? Run through scenarios mentally in English.
This trains your brain to be ready for real situations. When they actually happen, your brain already has the language prepared.
Here's another one. Describe everything you see. Look around the room and describe objects in English. I see a blue lamp. The lamp is on the table. The table is wooden.
It sounds simple, but it's training your brain to think descriptively in English. You're building vocabulary and sentence structure automatically.
Here's another one. Tell stories. Every day, tell yourself a story about something that happened. Today, I woke up late. I rushed to get ready. I almost missed the bus.
Storytelling is how humans naturally process experiences. When you do it in English, you're training your brain to organize thoughts in English.
And here's a really powerful one. Teach someone else. When you explain something in English to another person, your brain has to organize the information clearly.
Teaching forces you to really understand and articulate things. It's one of the best ways to solidify your own learning.
Okay, so let's talk about motivation, because this is crucial for long-term success. How do you stay motivated to keep training your brain every day?
First, connect English to your personal goals. Why do you want to speak English? Is it for your career, to travel, to connect with people? Keep that why in mind. When you remember your purpose, it's easier to stay consistent even when you don't feel like practicing.
Second, track your progress. Keep a journal of what you learn. Record yourself speaking every month to hear your improvement. Celebrate milestones.
Seeing tangible progress is incredibly motivating. You realize, wow, I couldn't say this 3 months ago, but now I can.
And third, find a community. Connect with other English learners. Join online groups. Find a language exchange partner. Learning with others makes it way more fun.
Absolutely. You can encourage each other, practice together, and hold each other accountable.
All right, so let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. First, understand that your brain learns through repetition and creating neural pathways. The more you use English, the stronger those pathways become.
Second, flood your brain with comprehensible input, listening and reading at the right level for you. Make English a constant presence in your life.
Third, prioritize output. Speak even when it's imperfect. Make mistakes. That's how your brain learns and adjusts.
Fourth, learn in chunks and phrases, not individual words. This helps you think in English instead of translating.
Fifth, be consistent. Daily practice, even if it's just 20 minutes, is more effective than occasional long study sessions.
Sixth, make it enjoyable. Choose content you love. Your brain learns better when you're having fun.
Seventh, get enough sleep. Your brain needs rest to consolidate learning and create permanent memories.
And finally, be patient with yourself. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, and every day of practice is progress.
Your brain is incredibly powerful and adaptable. It can learn English fluently if you give it the right conditions: input, output, consistency, and patience.
So start today. Pick one technique we talked about and implement it. Then add another next week. Build your English training routine gradually.
Remember, you're not just learning a language, you're literally rewiring your brain. That's pretty amazing when you think about it.
All right, everyone, that's our episode on training your brain for English fluency. We hope this gave you practical strategies and motivation to keep going.
Thanks for listening to English Go Easy. If you found this helpful, please subscribe, share it with other learners, and leave us a comment with your biggest takeaway.
And let us know, what technique are you going to try first? We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep training that brain, stay consistent, and believe in your ability to become fluent.
You've got this.
Peace out.